Okay, my name is Sir Jeremiah Christopher. I'm here in front of you today to proceed with our lesson. Okay, let us now see. The last session we have been discussing about the manpower mobilization. We said that the manpower mobilization refers to that kind of process of organizing and gathering people who have the different skills and knowledge for the purpose of to fulfill their demand of a certain ideas or purpose. So also we have been seeing that there are the different importance of having this manpower mobilization, like it helps to encourage the development of different economic sectors like industry, agriculture, and etc. Now let us see what are the problems facing the mobilization of manpower in Tanzania. So today we are going to see what kind of problem that facing the manpower mobilization. The first point is lack of capital to be invested in a different economic sector where human labor will be employed. For example, there is no enough industry to absorb skilled labor from universities. So as we know that if you want to start any kind of business, the first thing you should have is capital. So if you don't have capital, you can't do anything. So through capital will do your business and you will be successful. So this system of mobilizing power in Tanzania tend to be faced with this problem of lacking the capital. So lack of capital is among the problems that hinder the development of manpower mobilization in Tanzania. Another point is manpower is largely semi-skilled due to poor learning environment. Some centers are not having enough learning facilities, and even the instructors or teachers are also do not get well qualified. This is another problem that hinder the development of manpower mobilizations. Here we're going to see the facts of those manpower mobilization to fail, or problems that face it is due to because of poor learning environment. Those days there is a poor learning environment. So due to the poor learning environments played the great role to having the shortage skilled laborers that fulfill their goals through this manpower mobilization. So through not having the good environment of learning, it leads to the occurrence of semi-skilled laborers. So that is among the point or factor or problem that hinder the development of manpower mobilization. Another point is there is a problem of migration involve movement of unskilled labor from rural area to urban area. Hence, the people who remain in the rural area are old ones, young women and the children who cannot be mobilized effectively in the production process. As you know that migration is that process of people migrating from one place to another. As you see that in migrations, there is rural, urban migration, urban to rural migration. So when rural urban migration takes place, that means people are those people who are moving from rural to urban. So when people move from rural to urban, there is the occurrence of shortage of labor in rurals, and hence the problems of mobilizing power will occur. So through the movement of people to move from rural to urban, it leads to the shortage of laborers who will be engaged into the different activities in rural areas, in the activities like agriculture, industry, and etc. Okay. Another is poor transport and communication make the process of mobilizing manpower become difficult. So as we said, is that mobilization is that process of making people to be together, organizing them, gathering them together for performing the specific purpose. So that during that time there is a different problem that occur. Among of that problem is transport and communication. As we know that means of transport and communication is among the kind of driving force that lead to the occurrence of development. So manpower mobilization do not tend to develop due to the presence that at that time there is a poor transport and communication. So poor transport and communication play the great roles to the development of manpower mobilization. Another is decline in resources, diseases and environmental pollution discourage mobilizing of manpower in Tanzanians. Decline of resources, minerals and the others calamities or hazards like disease and environmental pollution discourage much the development of manpower mobilization. As we know that in order to perform something well, you are supposed to having the stable environment which will encourage the development of that kind of things that you are going to do. So poor environment also contributed to the technological backwardness of developing this kind of policy of mobilizing people to work together. Okay, after finishing to see those problems that hinder manpower mobilization, okay, let us now look another area or another subtopic, which is population growth and its social and economic planning. Here we're going to look population growth and its social and economic planning by starting the definition of population growth. The population growth is calculated by into account the birth rate and the death rate. Population growth is determined by two things. The first one is birth rate and the death rate. Through the presence of these two things, we can able to determine the population growth of the certain place. So the population growth of any place tend to be determined by looking these two things, that is birth growth, birth and the death. Hence it can be calculated as a natural population growth or numerical population growth. Here we are going to deal with number. We are going to deal with number. We are going to look how many people, how many women get birth at this year, how many people die at this year. Through looking those things or considering of those things, you can know the population growth of the certain place. Natural population growth or annual. When you say annual, means that per year. Growth rate or natural increase in the difference between the birth rate and the death rate. So also by looking the difference between death rate and the birth rate, that is you are going to get the natural population growth. So the natural population growth annually or annual rate or natural increase, it refers as is the difference between birth rate and the death rate. So here there is a formula which you can able to apply in order to get the natural growth rate. Natural growth rate is equal to crude birth rate minus the crude death rate. Crude birth rate minus crude death rate. By applying this kind of formula, you are going to get the natural growth rate of the population. Numerical population increase is actual absolute increase of number of people in area within a given period. Numerical population increase, here we are going to look at the number of people that increased at a certain place for a certain kind of period. So it is calculated by getting the difference between two consecutive censuses. Here we are going to look two consecutive census. It can be expressed also in terms of percentage. So this numerical population increase, it can be calculated by considering the 2 consecutive census, but also expressed in terms of percentage. Numerical population growth is important because it gives a realistic increase of population in a country. Through numerical population growth, you can get real data concerning about the number of population in the certain area. The country concerned can be based in economic planning on such absolute figure like the natural population growth, which is calculated from sample representative of 1,000 people. So through this numerical population growth, also we can know how to represent samples of data of people in a given area. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, my dear students, let's just now see what are the factors influencing population growth. As we know, everything's happen for reasons. There is a different reason now we are going to see that resulted to the occurrence of population growth in the certain area. But let me remind you something, as I said earlier, that the population growth of a certain place can be determined either by looking the birth rate and the death rate. This is 2 things that we are going to consider when we want to know the population growth of the certain area. So let us look the first 20 after another. The first 20 that act as a factor influencing population growth is fertility. Where there is high fertility, there is high population growth, like in Kenya. When talking about fertility, here we are going to look the birth rate of the certain place. So the place that have got the higher fertility rate, automatically the population will be high compared to the place that the fertility rate is low. For example, in Kenya there is a high fertility rate, and hence the number of people tend to be high. So fertility, it determines the number of population in a certain area. You consider, you are looking on 2 sides. If the fertility is high at a certain place, automatically the population at that place will be larger. And if the fertility rate is low in a certain place or a certain country, automatically the population of that area will be low. So fertility is among the great factor that contributed much to the population growth in the certain place. So let's proceed. Where the fertility rate is low, the population growth is low. Fertility vary among women, nutrition, health, service, and traditional customs. So also there is reason for fertility either to be high or to be low. So why fertility rate of certain place tends to be low? There are the reasons that contributed to the fertility of the certain place to be low. For example, if there is a woman who have bad nutrition, health center if is not good or well improved, also traditional customs, all these act as factors that lead for the fertility to be low at a certain place. But if the food is good for women, and if there is advanced social services like water, health, and sector, and etc., the population, the fertility of that area automatically will be high compared to that area that have not those good services. Okay, let's just see another point. Another factor that leads to the fertility rate is mortality. When we talk about mortality here, we're going to deal with deaths only. My dear student, let me show you the difference between fertility and mortality. Fertility, you are going to deal only with birth rate, while mortality you are going to deal with only death. That is the point you are supposed to note. So mortality is another factor that contributed much to the occurrence of population growth at a certain place. This is among the factors. Whereas there is a low mortality rate, there is high population growth. As I said earlier, that mortality we are going to deal with today. So if the place there is a high rate of mortality, automatically the number will be high. And if the place or country have the high mortality rate, automatically the number of people will be low, as explained in our explanation here. Where there is low mortality rate, there is high population growth, and where there is a high mortality rate, there is a low population growth. So as you see, those are the two factors that contributed to the occurrence of population growth. This acts as a determinant of the population growth of the certain place. You are looking on two things. The first one is fertility, and the second one is mortality. As I said earlier, fertility here we are concerning with birth, while mortality here we are concerning about death. Okay, let us now jump to the another part, which is population growth trend. Here we are going to look how population trend vary from one place to another. Population trend vary from one place to another. The first population trend is global trend. Here we are concerned about the body in general. Let us see the explanation here in the body. Global trend is a major trend of population growth has been declining in the current time from a peak of 2.1% per annum in year of 1965 up to 1970. The global trend, population growth has been declining. The population tend to decline to the peak of 2.1% per annum in 1965 up to 1970. So, my dear student, in the year of 1965 up to 1970, the population trend of the globe is it has a peak of 2.1%. But still there is a continue to be more persons, about 150 people per minute, or about 26 million per annum added to the total population than ever before in the human history. This is a short explanation concerning about the population trend of the certain place.
Also, there has been general low or no population growth in some area and the high population. Also, when you are looking at global trend, there is those days there is a place that having the high population and there are places that having the low population, and there are different reasons that lead to the occurrence of those difference. Also, but there is decline pattern has been very complete, such that in East Asia and decline in fertility is rapid. In the Sub-Saharan Africa is very limited and moderate in the Latin America. Here the population is showing trending into different area. In Sub-Saharan Africa, the population tend to be limited and moderate. So here the population growth is moderate. While the population in East Africa is declining, since fertility tend to be declined. Another trend is regional trend. Regional, there is existing a distinction between developed country and less developed country. Here we are going to look trend that differentiate between developed countries like China, Japan, and etc., and those less developed countries. So you are going to see the distinction in trend between these two categories of the country. Here we are going to look at the trends between the developed country and the less developed country. At the present, the average population growth rate for developed country is 0.64%. This is kind of the statistics that is shown in the developed country, but this is occurring per annum, and for the developing country is 2.07%. So now, my dear student, you see the difference in regional trend between the developed country and the developing country. That in developed countries, the trend is 0.64% per annum compared to the developing country, which is 2.07. So now you see the difference between developed and the
less developed countries that is involved in the regional trend. Therefore, there is high rate of population growth or expansion in the developing country. So through this, looking this kind of trend, we see that there is a high population in the developing country compared to the area that is already developed. So the population now is different. Okay, let's just now proceed. This rapid population growth or expansion is referred to as population explosion. As we know that there is another thing here which is rapid population. Here is where the population tends to grow faster at a short period of time. That is called population expansion. So rapid population, in other way, you can call it population growth or population expansion. So there is a different causes that lead to the occurrence of rapid population that take place for a short period of time. Let us see the one cause up to the another cause. The first cause is cultural belief, which includes sex preference. There is some society that prefer kind of sex. There is society that prefer the male sex, while there is other society that prefer female. So they differ according to their cultural belief. So through the sex preference, it can lead to the population, rapid population or population explosion. So some people consider giving birth to girls only as incomplete, hence they continue getting more children with the hope of getting males child. So according to their cultural beliefs, they can lead to the occurrence of that kind of population explosions. So another is the need for more children as a sign of prestige or measure of manhood and womanhood. This is another cultural factor that leads to the rapid population or population explosion. The need of more children. There is some families need or see it is prestige to having many children, since they believe that to having the many children will able to engage into different activities and for the purpose of running their life. So through that kind of beliefs, it leads to the rapid population or population expansion. Another cultural belief is early marriage. Also encourage women having many children from their young age to menopause, 45 up to 49 years. Here, another point is early marriage. There is a society that practice this kind of belief, that is early marriage. Through this kind of beliefs, it will play the great roles for people to having their many children compared to those areas that discourage the cultural belief of those for their children to getting early marriage. So the area that practice early marriage also encourage women to having many children. Another cultural belief that leads to the population explosion or rapid population is polygamy. Polygamy has also to the high rate of childbearing in some. Many regard polygamy as a measure of manhood and self-esteem. Polygamy, the situation of having many women. So through this kind of beliefs, it leads to the woman to bear many children and hence population explosion or expansion. Another is naming of relative is another cultural factor. The couple like getting sons and daughter in order to name their parent and the other important relative in the clan. Here we are going to look at the beliefs of relatives. So there are women who need to produce many girls for the purpose of to give their daughter or their son the child that they resemble with their relatives or clan. So through this beliefs, it leads to the occurrence of population expansions or rapid populations. Okay, let's just now see another point is
health service. Improved health service have led to the decline in death rate, with the improved high fertility rate has been great control of diseases like malaria, smallpox, and etc. Another factor or point that lead to the rapid population growth or population expansion is improved health. As we know that health is among the key things in your family which needing for every person or everybody to having it. So if the health is improved, automatically also the life expectancy of people tend to be high. Also the women will bear the many children and etc. So due to the improved health service lead to the decline in death rate, as we see in the explanation there. Through if the health service is improved, automatically the death rate will tend to decline. With improved health service, there has been great control of disease. Also, if the health is improved, there is also the controlling of diseases like malaria, smallpox, and etc. Life expectancy has been increased, and infant mortality has also declined, leading to the increase of fertility. Also, if the health of a certain country or certain place have been improved, automatically also the life expectancy will be expected for people to live for the long period of time. That means the life expectancy tended to increasing. Also, if the health of the certain place is well improved, automatically infant mortality rate also will decline and hence increase in fertility. Another factor that leads to the population explosion or rapid population is availability of food. With improved farming technique, people can produce surplus food, hence their reproductive capacity has increased due to the improved health. Availability of food. Also, food is among the things that we depend in order to run our life. So if there is available food is for feeding the families within the country or within a certain place, automatically the people will produce more, and the numbers of children will increase. They believe that if there is availability of food, there is no problems of hunger and famine. So availability of food is among the factor or driving force for population density to be high in the certain area. Another is modernizations. Youths nowadays mature faster than before due to improved nutrition. As we know that the trend of growth between those children of the past year and of nowadays is different. The youngs nowadays tend to grow faster compared to those old days. So through this, it also leads to the occurrence of rapid population growth. How nowadays youngs tend to be matured faster? They tend to be matured faster simply because there is improved nutrition. If the nutrition is improved, automatically the growth will take place faster. Also, due to early maturity, they become parents very early and hence start getting children. So if young tend to grow or to be matured faster, also they tend to become parent very easy and hence start getting the children. The provision of better social amenities like water, roads, and school has improved the standard of living of the people, consequently causing a decline in death rate and increase in the population growth. Also, the improving of those services also lead to the improving of life of the people. So, through improving of those services, automatically the deaths will decline and hence rapid population will occur. Another is religion. Religion ideas influence the pattern of individual fertility behaviors. Some religions do accept artificial method of birth control, saying that they are quite abnormal before God and hence they encourage or advocate natural methods like abstention from sex. So another reasons is religious factors. People who
My dear students, after finishing our discussions, now let us see there is a question here that need you to discuss or to know what are those factors that contributed to the rapid populations. So individually you are supposed to go and search and for those factors that contributed to the occurrence of rapid population in the certain country or at the certain place. Thanks, and we shall meet the next period.